How do you feel and how do you react when folks stare at you? That was a great reaction.
Stump Kitchen, gluten-free, vegan eats, stumptastic treats.
It's time for Stump Chats.
Yeah, it's like, how do you address that?
I don't know what I'm gonna ask you now. Here's a fun one that I've asked many folks. What's it like having a limb difference?
I mean, it's such a broad question, right? What domain does this stretch to? Because it's like, how do you adjust to regular life? There's just so many questions around that.
Anywhere you want to go?
It leads to a lot more things being planned, right? Especially for me, I'm like, okay, I've got to plan for weather. Now I've got to plan bus routes. I need to plan my morning routine so that I can leave the house by a certain point so that I can take public transport, fight with weather outside. If I'm trying to be independent, 5-6 hours, something like that. And I have a very specific morning routine that will allow me to be independent for longer and away from any kind of supports. So it's very process oriented, and it's kind of hard to be spontaneous sometimes. But then you learn through like routine and adaptation what you can get away with and what you can't get away with. Operating in your day-to-day life becomes more and more structured, and then as you get better at it, it gets a little looser, so you have some room for spontaneity.
That makes a lot of sense, and it reminds me of my friend Jo, who has a YouTube channel called Footless Jo. She's a recent amputee, and she said one of the biggest differences between having 2 legs to 1 is like the planning, like thinking about, okay, how am I gonna get dressed? How am I gonna shower? How am I gonna get up these stairs?
It takes a lot of mental energy to
she's exhausted.
Yeah.
And she's only a year in, and like where you've had a lot more time. And I would say for me, there's a lot of pre-planning that happens, but it's on the scale of like, okay, do I want to wear these shoes, or like, are they going to come untied a lot, and do I have to keep tying them, and is that going to take forever and be really annoying? Or like, okay, when I go grocery shopping, like how close can I park so I can like get the bags in the car and I'm not going to drop them everywhere? Okay, I really want to take this coffee with me. Can I carry it here without spilling it on my shirt and like getting up? So like, do I want to spend full price on this pair of mittens? Not really.
Your life becomes this weird calculus all the time. Where you're like, how am I gonna?
What's happening?
Yeah, I'm pretty much a logistics expert at this point because I can just plan anything.
I was gonna ask you, like, do you find that a lot of the people around you rely on you to be the accessibility expert?
I mean, it's something that you end up, the mantle you end up taking up, because like a layperson coming into your situation isn't going to be able to adapt to your situation as well as you are, right?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of my friends who are chair users and stuff in general are just like, we have to do all the work. And it's like, no. And that's where, as a community, I think we need to just like take it on more in our planning and stuff like that. Here's a fun one. It's just great. How do you feel and how do you react when folks stare at you? That was a great reaction.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's been happening so often for so long, right? Like it's you get a bunch of varied reactions. You always get weird, eccentric conversations that just spontaneously happen. You're like, what did I do to get to this point where we're having this weird conversation?
Yeah.
But there's also like, you have kids who are like very curious. And, kids will tell you what they're thinking just immediately. So, reactions vary from just like outright shock and terror to like very curious, and it's just about trying to be compassionate and open and educate them when I feel like it. And,
when you feel like it, that's, I think, is the key. Like, we don't often like always feel like it, like taking the time to be patient. I don't anyway. Or most of the time it's great, but some days I'm just like, please take your baggage elsewhere and deal with it. I don't want to deal with that for you.
You ever have the experience where like you become someone's therapist?
Oh my God.
Right? Like
yes,
it happens.
Yes.
Like they see what they construe as tragedy, and then they start telling you about something that happened in their life, and then it just spirals.
And then they start crying, and you're just like,
I will send you
a bill for $300 an hour. Oh, I totally, yes. So that's happened to you?
Oh. This is just called going out, right? Like,
yeah, we should start a therapy business.
Yeah, we should.
We could make a killing.
Stump Kitchen, gluten-free, vegan eats, stumptastic treats.